Hi, Jim Haney here with Mental Health TV, and today we're talking with Anita Roessman, attorney for Disability Rights Montana. Hi, Anita. Welcome.
Hi.
So tell us who is Disability Rights?
Disability Rights Montana is in Helena, and it is a protection and advocacy organization. There's one of us in every state. We are required by federal law, and any state that wants to participate in the Medicaid program has to also have a protection and advocacy program. The protection and advocacy system goes back to the 1970s. Congress had hearings about conditions in state institutions for people with disabilities, people with mental illness, and people with developmental disabilities. And the stories they heard about the abuses and conditions in those institutions were horrifying. And Congress found that the states were not doing a very good job in keeping people safe, and that it would create a system that could look over the shoulders of the state authorities to ensure that they were doing the job they were supposed to be doing. So we were created originally to add an additional layer of protection for people who were very vulnerable by reason of being in an institution and kind of locked away from community oversight. And over the years, Congress kept adding on to the protection and advocacy system. So at this time, we have a bunch of different programs to help people with disabilities advocate for themselves in various areas. So we have protection and advocacy for individuals with mental illness, which has grown to include issues of concern to people with mental illness beyond just institutional care. Protection and advocacy for individuals with developmental disabilities, protection and advocacy for individual rights, which is a small grant we get to advocate for people who don't fall into the first two groups.
Okay.
We have a grant to advocate for people with traumatic brain injury, again a very small grant. We have a grant that lets us advocate for people who are beneficiaries of Social Security and who want to return to work without losing Medicaid.
Oh, okay.
We advocate for people who want to get vocational rehabilitation services. That's our client assistance program. And we work with the state to ensure elections are accessible to people with disabilities. We have a grant to do that. Sometimes we forget, and people forget, we advocate for adults and children with disabilities, so we do a lot of special ed advocacy.
Okay.
And we do some litigation, but that tends to get overstated. People think of us as the organization that sues the state, and we do a certain amount of that. And we actually have quite a bit of litigation going on around employment discrimination. Also around access issues, not being able to get into public services to which they're entitled to have access. And we appear quite often in front of the Montana Human Rights Bureau in that connection, as well as in district court.
Wow, Anita, that's a lot. That's very impressive. Wow. So if somebody had an issue, how would they get in touch with your organization?
We have a website, disabilityrightsmt.org is our website. We also are, we have an 800 number. It's 800-245-4743. And locally, our number in Helena is 449-2344.
Okay. And if someone is not sure if there has been a violation, what would you recommend that they do? They're just having some issues. And
you can actually complete kind of an intake form on our website if you want to, but if you call us, we'll be put in touch usually the same day with somebody who will ask all our intake questions and get the process started. And then every Monday we staff all of our intakes and figure out what the next steps with that are. We get about 3 dozen calls a week, 2 to 3 dozen calls a week with new issues. And we can't serve everybody with the level of service I think that they would want. So we have to sort things out. And mostly we provide information and referral and short-term assistance to people. And we can do that. We get a lot of calls from families about people in jail. We get calls about people in prison, children in detention, all kinds of questions that we can help people sort through. And as well as a lot of issues that arise in the community and in the state facilities.
Right. Well, you're doing a lot of good work there, Anita. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And as always, on Mental Health TV, we always ask one sort of fun question. So, Anita, what was your favorite childhood toy?
I had a doll that an aunt brought back from Paris
Oh.
in 1963, I think. And she came in a little red trunk, and she came with 2 outfits, and she looks a little faded these days, but she's still in my basement
You
in her
still
little
have
red
her.
trunk. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. That must have been a favorite.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, Anita, thank you for coming on Mental Health TV, and please keep up the good work. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, that's it for this episode of Mental Health TV, and join us again next time.